10 years.
Oh, my God. If you lose those kind of games. And if you're a veteran guy and you're in the last year of your contract, unless you see some change, you're not coming back here. You have to endure 15 straight losses. I mean, you're contemplating retiring. You're contemplating moving on somewhere else. I'm just saying that kind of negativity is draining on an athlete because the NFL, I was telling Hack this yesterday, the NFL is built on parity. You're not supposed, it takes effort to lose that many games in a row when the NFL is aligned for teams to win at least a few games, not lose 15 straight games. That's almost unheard of.
Well, I wrote this on 1010XL.com this morning, and I think it's a great quote, obviously. It's one that we're all familiar with. The night is darkest just before the dawn. And the Jaguars had the darkest season in their franchise history. They never before were 1-15 or worse until now. And 15 consecutive losses. It doesn't get a whole lot darker than that. And the guys that got us into this, Dave Caldwell, Doug Marrone, the staff with Doug Marrone, a large majority of them are all now gone, and we wish them the best in their future endeavors, as they say. And now we'll see, and hopefully the dawn is on the horizon. And what will the dawn consist of? Well, it'll consist of a new head coach, a new general manager, the number 1 pick in the 2021 draft, 4 of the top 46 picks in the 2021 draft, and, oh, by the way, about $100 million in salary cap room. So there's a lot of dawn, Matt Hayes, that potentially can be had here to get us out of this darkest hour in Jaguar history. And I said this on Twitter this morning. This offseason will be the most fun, interesting, fascinating, whatever other verbiage, adjectives you want to use. This will be the most awesome offseason in the history of the Jaguar organization because of all those things we just laid out, from the coach, the GM, free agency, the draft, Trevor Lawrence. It's going to be an amazing ride over the next 4 or 5 months.
What in the world is that? For everyone who doesn't know, Hack has this big bottle of water next to him, and it's a certain color that looks like Joe.
Like tea. Sure.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'm a little unnerved by that, Hack. I got to be honest with you.
It's January 4th. It's all about the new year.
Right. Is this a cleanse?
Oh, the cleanse has started. Maybe that's why. Maybe that's why I'm a little ornery right now. Had a delicious bowl of sugar-free or something oatmeal
right.
this morning, and this is water which is flavored like orange tangerine.
Yeah.
It's a couple squirts that I put in there. No, it's not urine. I'm not gonna be that
I was
cleansed.
thinking Better Call Saul walking through the desert and basically had to drink his own just to kind of hydrate.
Gandhi used to actually drink his own urine every morning.
No,
when he woke up.
I'm 64
I think
ounces.
that's the Seinfeld episode you're talking about. That's not true.
I'm 64 ounces of water in, and that's plain, but I needed something to enhance the sensation. So this is the orange tangerine. I also have some orange vanilla if you like it.
No, I'm good.
Okay,
You just got me sidetracked with that.
Another diet officially begins in January.
all right.
How many thousands of diets?
Hey man,
Yeah.
it's go time.
I agree with your it's always darkest before the dawn. I'm looking at this completely 100% ahead forward. We all knew this was going to happen. This is news that we all knew was happening. It's not a big deal. Let's continue to move forward and look at the future. Your quarterback, you can say it ends up being a stroke of luck. He doesn't have to play another game, so he's not going to get injured.
Right. So
you got your first pick. Looks like you're going to wrap up Urban Meyer sometime within the next 5 or 6 days. You are now moving forward. And I've been talking about Urban Meyer for 3 or 4 months that he will change the way this place thinks about football. The game of football, playing football, on and off the field football. It's a smart move. You may not like it because your idea of Urban is Urban from colleges, and when Urban left Florida high and dry, and when he went to Ohio State, he started the problem. Smith, who was originally with him in Gainesville, followed with him at Ohio State, still kept him there, didn't get rid of him. You can talk about all that stuff, and I'm not going to disagree with you. Mm-hmm. You can talk about the 30-year arrest at Florida. I'm not going to disagree with you. You can talk about, Chris Rainey threatening to kill his girlfriend. I'm not going to disagree with you. I am not. It's
because
just
you were the one who wrote the big scathing article.
Yes, believe me. I expose that stuff. So,
Urban's a
but
big
I will
fan
say
of yours,
this.
right?
Yeah, but I will say this. The dude can coach. He knows football. He knows how to coach. He knows how to motivate players. And when you're talking about at the professional level, when all it is ball, it's just ball. And I know for a fact he's spoken with Billy Donovan about this. Billy loves the NBA, loves it because it's just ball. He doesn't have to worry about recruiting, doesn't have to worry about babysitting, doesn't have to worry about getting a call at 2 a.m. about, your player's over here, you might want to come get him. Doesn't worry about any of that stuff, anything. Because now if any of that stuff happens, you're cut. You're out. I'll go to the next guy.
And those
so it's
two
all
coaches,
ball right now. That's why I think it'll be different with Herb now. That's why I think he won't be stressed as much. He was stressed in the college game because if you lose one game, you might be out. Here you can lose 7 and still get to the Super Bowl.
Oh,
so
listen.
everybody that says he's gonna be stressed because he can't take losing. Well, no coach in college football can take losing. Right. It's a lot different when you're in the NFL when you can afford to lose.
If he goes through what Doug Marrone went through this year, like Leon was describing earlier, he might be on permanent bed rest, okay, if he has to endure 15 straight losses
I can
like
guarantee you that. I don't care what this roster looks like next year, they will not be 1-15.
Okay, so Herb's like the biggest name that's out there, and you definitely have been a proponent of him for a while. Are there true legs to this? That's what we're all trying to figure out. And is it like Shad Khan had a presser earlier? We're going to try and play as much audio as we possibly can from it. It's a little bit of a fascinating listen because Shad has been this guy that, if you want to just go back to the Wizard of Oz, the man behind the curtain, you never, ever really saw him act as an owner very often. The only time you'd see him is at the end of the year, he'd come out with a statement, and it was to keep what was here and not working for another year. And so it was driving Jaguar fans crazy. But now he's basically going to take a leadership role going forward. So we're going to try and play some of this audio of Shad and get some fans' response to it. You guys can hit the text line designed by Lifetime Enclosures at 641-1010. You're welcome to tweet at any or all of us and let us know what you're thinking. But Shad right now basically has to get it right. Otherwise, you're just going to keep the misery in the minds of Jaguar fans for, another year, 2, 3, however many years if you don't get it right.
There'll be a differing of opinion, Leon, on who to bring in here as coach, who to bring in here as general manager, and we'll have some conversation, discussion, maybe even an argument or two, and that's what makes the world go round, right? That's what we do on XL Primetime. But at the end of the day, we all want the same thing. I heard Dempsey also mention this on Jaguars Today. He's exactly right. At the end of the day, no matter who you want them to hire, who you want them to bring in, who you want them to draft, we all want them to win, right? We're tired of this. We're tired of 46 wins and 16 losses or whatever it's been this past decade. It has been a dumpster fire, a clown show of errors, from bad draft picks to bad free agency signings to bad hires with coaching personnel, GMs, obviously. And the GM thing, you can even go back almost 2 decades. From Shaq Harris to Gene Smith to Dave Caldwell. It's all been bad, really, since 2003. The Urban Meyer thing, I would welcome that. And I hear people talking about Urban's not a great guy, and he rubs people the wrong way, and he left Florida high and dry, and this, that, and the other. Well, here's the one thing I do know, and we can all agree on this. Gus Bradley and Doug Marrone are 2 great guys. We would go have a beer and a hot dog and a round of golf with Gus Bradley and Doug Marrone, and you'd have an awesome time. And the Jaguars have been terrible for the last 8 years that those guys have been the head coaches here in Jacksonville. Maybe we need a guy that might rub somebody the wrong way. Maybe we need a guy that's not a, quote, great guy, because the great guys that we've had here have got us into this position. I want a guy that's going to win football games. That's what I want. And Urban Meyer wins football games. And if that means bringing him in here, whether you like it or not, at the end of the day, to me, within reason, that's all that matters.
Yeah, I don't need my coach to be warm and cushy, all right? I don't want him to be fun-loving and friendly. I don't need that. I haven't never experienced one like that since my college career.
You did not have that.
No, but I want a guy, that's going to make you feel uncomfortable, that's going to put pressure on you, that's going to hold you accountable, that's going to call you out when you don't play well, all right? Because that's what gets me going. Now, I don't know with these kids nowadays. I mean, Urban probably have a closer attachment or connection to these kids because he's going to essentially be coaching guys just in the league, second year in the league, third years, and they're real young guys. But I want some, and I'm going to be very interested to see who he gets as assistants, because the assistants are going to spend the vast majority of time with these players and how they're going to be on them, how they're going to keep pressure on, how they're going to, because it's a little different when you're a veteran guy. When you're an older guy, a new coaching staff comes in here and they try to push your buttons. You done seen it, been there, done that, response. But a young kid that doesn't know any better, just fresh in the league, trying to make the league, a guy like Urban comes in here, shakes the tree, keeps them accountable, keeps the pressure on them. I think that could be helpful for a young kid. I think it'd be very helpful.
I think when you look at this, it's all about the comfort level. If you're comfortable, I don't care if you're a football player, you're a talk radio guy, if you're a sports writer, if you're whatever. If you're comfortable, you're not growing. If you're uncomfortable, that's where you grow. If you're comfortable, you're going to sit in your safe space and everything's good. You're going to get fat and happy and everything's great. Once you start getting uncomfortable, and I'm talking everyone in life, period, that's where true growth happens. That's what I think Urban's going to do when he comes in here. He's going to make a lot of people uncomfortable. And that's the way it has to be. You can't be in a situation where you accept losing. You accept the fact that people say you have bad players. His point, I think, was awesome when he told Albert Breer. And Albert talked about this on our show a couple weeks, a week and a half ago. There are no bad players in the NFL. There's bad coaches. You got to coach guys. All players in the NFL are good players. They're there for a reason.
Right.
They're making money playing a game for a reason. It's up to you to make them play to their full potential.
Yeah, and the collection of what was here certainly didn't add up. Let's get to Shad, a couple of the comments that he had as far as the direction going forward and what he has to do. Just want you guys to be able to hear a couple of these. Now, as far as moving quickly, everyone wants to boom, boom, boom. We got to have it. Who's the next guy? You fire that guy, I want you to hire the next guy. Kind of like what Texas did. They fired Tom Herman, and then they hired Steve Sarkisian in about 15 minutes. But it doesn't sound like Khan's going to go that route. Here's Shad on basically not rushing the process and making sure that he gets the right guy.
We're going to take our time to make sure we've looked far and wide and really a whole variety of candidates. So I really can't give you the timing unless when it's right. Obviously, we'll be sharing it with you. Now, on the general manager search, we've interviewed people who were available, but there are a number of them who are unavailable due to the league rules. And today we'll be turning in our request to be able to interview some of those.
I'm real interested to see if this list grows because we had Wes Durham on the other day, and he was of the mind, he's play-by-play voice for the Atlanta Falcons, of the mind that the Falcons had 25 general manager candidates that had gone through the interview process. It sounds to me like Shad's waiting. Like Ed Dodds is a guy that I've thrown out there. Ed Dodds is now another guy that people are interested in reaching out to. I think the Panthers today
It's breaking news left and right. Coaches lining up interviews, GM candidates lining up interviews, and there's competition. Look,
heck yes.
You have the chance as a head coach or a general manager to potentially be around Justin Herbert in Los Angeles because Anthony Lynn has been fired within the last hour, Deshaun Watson in Houston, Trevor Lawrence in Jacksonville. I have NFL analysts on social media this morning saying these jobs are the most appealing jobs on Black Monday maybe in decades in the NFL. When you talk about the Chargers, the Texans, what the Jaguars have. Oh, by the way, Atlanta with Matt Ryan and Julio Jones and all those guys, that job is open. And then you have Detroit and you have the New York Jets. There are 6 jobs open right now. I don't know where I would rank Jacksonville. I gotta be honest with you. I think the Chargers is the best job because you have a guy that threw 30 touchdowns his rookie year as a quarterback. You got a really good young running back in Austin Eckler. You got a great defensive end in Joey Bosa. I think the Chargers is probably the best job. After that, I'd probably go Jacksonville, would be in the mix at some point.
All right, so another one from Shad, just as far as who's making this decision. A lot of people talk about, are you bringing a search firm in? How are you going to go about doing this? Everyone's dying to know. Well, this is the stash basically saying he's in charge.
I've gone through the rite of passage, as a new owner coming into the league, the advisors, consultants, whatever. So, we did that. This time around, I think I have a much better sense myself. So, I'm the key decision maker, but we do have people at the team, at the Jaguars. Mark Lamping would be one who will be working with these people. So, they will be involved from that viewpoint. But, when it comes to who the key decision maker is going to be, you're looking at it.
That's impressive to me. Because for so long, he's been the absentee owner. And I think that's a fair assessment, too. Now he's the guy who's saying, okay, I'm taking control. And I kind of like that. And I know people say, no, you much rather have an owner just do things but not be heard. No, I want a guy that's out there. I want a guy that shows you he's invested in the club, he's invested in winning, and he's not going to take losing for granted. And you know what that makes me think, too? That makes me think that the Herb stuff is definitely true because if he's talking to Herb, he's thinking that because Herb's getting in his head right now. That you've got to be part. Everybody's got to be part of it. Everybody's got to be aligned. Everybody's got to be on the same page. Everybody's got to be invested.
Yeah, what I got from that is that he's trusted other people, consulting people, and they hosed him over the last few years.
Yeah.
All right, and we just talked about this. He was talking about. It seems like Shad Khan realized he got comfortable too.
Yeah.
He got comfortable too. He got nice, got warm and cushy and fluffy because he trusted other people to handle things, and this is the end result. So it's good that he's going to be a little bit more hands-on.
See, now here's my thing. There are 6 jobs open, as we just mentioned. Urban Meyer, the only job you hear Urban Meyer in for is here in Jacksonville. Is that odd? Why is that? Why? I mean, the Chargers just got open. The Jets are open. The Falcons have been open forever. Detroit's been open. Not one mention of Urban Meyer with any of these other jobs except right here in Jacksonville.
Because I believe, at least from the people that I've heard from, I've talked to, and again, this is just not matter of fact reporting. This is just the vibe that I'm getting from the people that are kind of on the kind of outskirts of this whole story. Is that and Albert Breer was the first guy to do this, and then since then I've been able to hear from a couple of other people that make me believe.
Yeah, Lock and Four tried to take credit over the weekend.
No,
that got debunked pretty quick.
And we can immediately say, and we said this at the time, that Albert Breer is as close to Urban Meyer of those big-name reporters in the National Football League as there is.
He's friends with him. He's actually good friends with him.
Yeah, he is a friend of Urban Meyer. And so he was the first to float it out there that Con would be smart to look in this direction, and Herb would be very interested in the idea of maybe being a head coach in the National Football League coming out of retirement after sitting on the sideline. And so there's legs to it. Now, there's one more from Shad Khan, just as far as, this thing that just drove me nuts about the decision that he made the last time to keep Caldwell and Marone and then, quote, try and clean up that locker room and basically create a new culture. You can't create a new culture if the same guys are in charge. And so here's Shad on wanting a winning culture for this franchise.
Team culture, is about winning. And if you look at it, it's ancient history, but 3 years ago, we were in the championship game. So that is really a key lesson. It's about culture, which is about sustaining winning. It's a little bit different than managing losing. So that is obviously an aspect of that. You want to be able to get to win, but then you want to be able to sustain that moving forward.
I love, Leon, that he said that championship game is ancient history.
Yeah, he gets it now. It's not just about one-hit wonders. It's about consistently winning on a year-to-year basis, having the right guys, the right coaching staff in place to consistently win football games.
I'm telling you right now, what he just said right there, I've heard Urban say multiple times. Urban uses ancient history all the time. All the time. And Urban has also said,
Urban's phone?
And Urban has also
Have you
said,
bugged his
no,
phone?
I mean at Florida and Ohio State. Anybody that's covered him will tell you this. He also has said, I don't know how many times. You know what the best culture is? Winning. He says that all the time.
Well, whether they hire Urban or not, whoever they do hire, it's going to be a fun process. Shad's obviously going to be the final decision maker. He's made that very clear. To me, this is the most passion we've heard out of Shad Khan in a Shad Khan press conference in the history of him ever owning the Jacksonville Jaguars. And why is that? What did we talk about 6 weeks ago? That whole 100 losses thing. It was made a really big deal by the Jaguar fan base. I know the boys from the brigade and everybody who kind of they've been very critical of Shad and the 100 losses, and that kind of blew up a little bit. And I think that might have ruffled some feathers. We talk about lighting a fire under Shad Khan. It sounds to me that he has a fire lit under him. Look, facts are facts. He is the second fastest owner in the history of the NFL to get to 100 losses. Yeah. It has been horrible win-loss-wise. He has made a lot of bad decisions as far as guys he's given power to, i.e. Dave Caldwell, Gus Bradley, Doug Marone, etc. This, to me, sounds like a fired-up Shad Khan to maybe right some of the wrongs of the previous 9 years of his ownership.
Yeah, I think 100 losses, 100% on it really got to him, and it really kind of made him realize, step up, wake up, do something about this. You are one of 32, and you're the most embarrassing one of 32 right now based on the accumulation of just awfulness. And so that's where we're at. All right, so we'll try and get some reaction from you guys. You definitely are welcome to join in. Hit the text line, hit social media. We'll try and work in some Bud Light pop-off calls. All of that coming as we just kind of really just take a look at what's next GM, is it the most important job? Head coach, is it the most important job? You know you're getting Trevor, and you know that Trevor right now doesn't have to worry about playing any more college ball. Now all we're waiting from Trevor Lawrence is his announcement that he's turning pro. We'll get into all of that today on XL Primetime. Thanks to Zaxby. Start thinking about your college football playoff plans, your wild card weekend plans. Zaxby's on University Boulevard east of I-95 in the St. John's Town Center right next to Daly's, and in Bartram Park off Old St. Augustine Road.
The First Coast Honda Dealer Studios on